Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Hopeful Chewbacca back at the Church of Chewbacca, and today we're going to go over the player synergies, and I'm going to rank them 1 through 10 to let you guys know what I think are the best player synergies. Essentially, what a synergy is within the game is something that gives a boost to attributes on player cards. Each player has a player synergy, except for goalies will have team synergies, which we will go over in a different video. This year, to start the game, there are 10 synergies built into the game. Each one gives you different attribute boosts. For the most part, it takes 4 individual players, and only those players will have said boosts. For player synergies, there is one in Howitzer, as you can see here, that's going to take 6 players to get it, and it will only boost those 6 players. Compared to the team synergies, they'll boost the entire team if you get however many players it takes to get that synergy activated. So to activate these, you're going to look on the cards. It will show you on the card if the guy has Speedster, Thief, Magician, Gladiator, so on and so forth. Whichever player synergies they have. Every card is going to have a player synergy on it. That's a skater. Some cards will have a player synergy and a team synergy, but at the very least, they will have a player synergy. Like I said, except for goalies, goalies always have team synergy. Before we get into ranking these player synergies, to let you guys know which ones you should go after, which ones are the best synergies for players in the game, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, comment down below what you guys think about the player synergies this year, if you guys like them compared to previous games, and which player synergies you guys are going to be going after. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I'm uploading more videos, and share this with any of your friends that play NHL 21. I think it'll really help you guys out to understanding the player synergies and which ones are probably the best in the game, at least at this point. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 10. Probably the worst player synergy coming in at the 10 spot is Workhorse. You only need 4 players in your lineup to have this synergy for it to be activated. And it does give you +3 acceleration, +3 balance, +3 durability, and +3 endurance, which can actually be pretty decent for a defenseman. However, I just think there's other synergies that work better, as well as I don't think this is a great synergy for forwards. Forwards are going to have shorter shifts. They don't really need the durability. I think that's just actually a wasted attribute in general, so you got to take that off the table. Like, yeah, some guys get hurt, but honestly, you have to almost block a shot or get like absolutely crushed to get injured in this game. So durability is not really that important of an attribute, in my personal opinion, in the first place. And then acceleration is a good attribute. Balance is kind of a middle tier attribute. Endurance is great for defensemen because you can get stuck on the ice a little bit longer. But for forwards, it's not that great. And from looking at the Workhorse and some of the player cards that it's on, it seems to be like it's more on forwards than it's on defensemen. So when it's more of a defenseman geared synergy, in my opinion, and it's mostly on forwards, that's kind of what's landing it in the 10 spot here. I think there's just 9 better options. Coming in at number 9. The 9th best synergy here is going to be Thief for the player synergies. Although faceoffs are extremely important, this is something that you might want to have on centers. I actually have this activated on a defenseman and 3 wingers. So the fact that Thief is a player synergy and it's not on centers only or defensemen doesn't make any sense to me. So it might even actually be able to be at 10, but just Workhorse isn't really on defensemen at all, and that's also defenseman geared. This kind of splits it in half. Like, this is a great for like a 2-way center or a player that plays defense. Like, you don't need stick checking if you're a left winger that's a skilled player. Like, if you have an Ovechkin, he doesn't need Thief. He's never going to take faceoffs. And okay, it's cool, he has stick checking, but that's not really his game. Ovechkin's game's to body somebody, a Jamie Benn, guys like that. I mean, I don't know if those guys have Thief. I'm just using those as examples of players that wouldn't need Thief at all. I think one of the players I have Thief on is like a right winger with like 55 faceoffs. Like, even +5 faceoffs isn't going to do anything. He's never going to be in the faceoff circle taking faceoffs for me. Yeah, the +5 stick checking is great. If you could get this on 4 defensemen, it's not that bad of a synergy. But if you can't get it on 4 defensemen, this synergy is completely garbage. Coming in at number 9 on the list. At number 8. In the 8th spot, we have Light the Lamp, which is +3 balance, +3 hand-eye, +3 offensive awareness, +3 wrist shot accuracy. Essentially, balance, hand-eye, offensive awareness are like middle tier type attributes, and then wrist shot accuracy is probably a top tier attribute because you're going to take a lot of wristers. A lot of times when you take one-timers, the wrist shots are based off of that accuracy. You want to have an accurate wrist shot when you're coming down the lane and you're trying to snipe somebody. As for the other ones, offensive awareness is great if you really like to cycle the puck, but when I'm grading these player synergies or synergies in general attributes for player cards, I'm thinking about the commonality of the entire pool of players. So like a top tier player, I think offensive awareness would be a little bit better to get guys in position. If you're making a lot of passes, you read stuff ahead of it. But a lot of guys are going to play on the rush. A lot of guys are going to just take open shots. They're not going to tic-tac-toe the puck like you see some of these really high-level players doing. So taking that into consideration, offensive awareness is nice to get guys in certain positions if you're cycling and whatever your strategies are set up to be. It'll help some in the offensive zone. As for hand-eye, it helps with deflection. So if you don't really play the deflection game, hand-eye doesn't really help you that much. It's pretty much an attribute that's designed specifically for deflections in front of the net. So if you're not playing that shoot from the point, try to get deflections, hand-eye doesn't really help you that much. As well as balance, that's great for maybe guys that are a little bit smaller or even bigger players that want to add some balance. It could help a little bit, but this is more of like if you're looking to build a lineup that has a lot of power forwards in it, you want to look for guys that have light the lamp. Essentially, this would be what I would say the power forward player synergy more than anything, but then they throw wrist shot accuracy on there, which is more for like skilled players. So I just think it's one of those meshes where like it just doesn't line up with the type of, like, you have to pick it between two different types of players. It's not just like one type of player that this synergy is built for and you build your lineup towards that. Either way, geared towards power forward players, and I think speed kills in this game and skating, just like it does in real NHL now. You don't have a bunch of goons playing anymore. It's not the 80s, 90s hockey. So I don't think light the lamp is that great. That's why it's coming in at the 8th spot. At number 7, the 7th best player synergy is Magician, and this is +4 agility, +4 deking, +4 puck control. Now this actually is maybe a little bit higher depending on what type of player you are. List for player synergies. Agility is a great one to have. Deking's great. So is puck control. However, if you're not a guy that's really good with this on the stick, so like you're just an average player, like you're not one of them guys that's all over the place with the right stick doing crazy L1 dekes, the deking isn't really a huge attribute. I mean, it's pretty much useless. If you're just an up and down, straight down the ice, pass the puck some, try to create good offensive opportunities for yourself and more of a defensive player, counterattacker, deking's not a huge attribute. Like for me personally, I'm not a big deker. I'm a guy that likes to cycle the puck, get down deep, play kind of nitty-gritty hockey, defense first. Wins me a lot of games, but sometimes I'll get abused because I'm not the best L1 guy, and if you play a lot of hard on the puck defense on me and shut down the passing lanes, I can have a little bit of trouble creating offense, which is just one of the flaws in my game. And I think for me, deking is just not great attribute-wise unless you're a fancy guy with the puck. Then Magician probably higher up in the top 5 on this list, to be honest, not at number 7. But I'd say for the average player, not super flashy, so deking just gets thrown out the way. Agility and puck control are good attributes. You need puck control for those loose puck battles. Agility is great to have. I just think there's better player synergies that you can have because with the deking being thrown out the window, you're only getting +8 essentially in extra attributes with the puck control and agility of things that most players are going to use. So that's kind of why Magician's fallen in at number 7 for me, now a little bit higher on the list. If you are one of those guys that likes to deke and you're really good with the puck on your stick, then by all means, Magician could be a great player synergy to go after for you. Coming in at number 6. The 6-box Wingman, it's +3 acceleration, +3 passing, +3 wrist shot accuracy. And this is kind of why Light the Lamp was down in the 8th spot. And this is, I think, a better synergy that has wrist shot accuracy in it. Passing is super important. And then acceleration. So the acceleration definitely helps. It allows your guy to get up to top speed pretty quickly with a snap of a finger. So you really want that. The passing obviously allows you to make better passes. The wrist shot accuracy is probably more important than wrist shot power is in the game. It's kind of like a hit or miss there, I guess. If you have a guy that has some good wrist shot power and you add some wrist shot accuracy to it, it can make his shot just tenfold better. But you do have to have a relatively hard shot. Like there's a bare minimum of wrist shot power you have to have, or you're just going to get everything essentially saved. You're not going to blow it past the goalie ever on just regular wrist shot. So you have to have some power, but accuracy definitely plays a factor into that to making the wrist shot a lot better, in my opinion. But it's going to come in at number 6. Wingman's definitely one you're going to want on your wingers or guys that are a little bit faster naturally, that have good speed, add a little bit of acceleration, some passing. More of your skilled players are what you're going to look for Wingman on compared to like defensemen. I've seen defensemen with this Wingman player synergy. I don't think it's that great for a defenseman. I think there are better options for defensemen that we're about to go over here shortly. At number 5, In the fifth spot, we have Shutdown. This is a very much defenseman-based or two-way forward type of base player synergy. +3 body checking, +3 puck control, +3 shot blocking, +3 slap shot accuracy. So really, it's something that's really designed for defensemen, but there are a lot of wingers and two-way type forwards that have this Shutdown. I think this is a synergy you'd want to try to get on defensemen, maybe one forward, like 3 defensemen and a forward would be nice to have this Shutdown player synergy. Maybe you could have it on a big body guy like a Blake Wheeler, somebody that's like big in size. Would be nice to maybe have some of this to get the slap shot accuracy a little bit better, get some heavier body checks, have some good puck control for a bigger body. Might be a decent player synergy to have, but this is definitely a defenseman-based player synergy when you're looking at it. At number 4. At 4 is another synergy that's more defenseman-based, but I think this is the one's a little bit more versatile than the Shutdown. That's why it's getting a bump at 4 rather than 5. Another one that has passing, slap shot accuracy, and stick checking involved. Instead of the body checking, you're substituting in stick checking. You're getting +4 for each of those attributes. And I really think for defensemen, it's giving you passing, it's going to give you some slap shot accuracy, and the stick checking. This is a huge one for defensemen, but it's not one that's bad for forwards either, because it's going to give you the +4 passing, and it gives you slap shot accuracy, which will help on one-timer, so it's not bad to have it on like a winger. The stick checking for back checking, I don't think it's a bad player synergy to have. That's why I got it number 4 on the list. I just think that it's better than the other ones we've went over so far because it's more versatile. The things that make the list the way that it is the versatility of the player synergies. If the player synergy isn't as versatile as some of the other ones, that's why it doesn't get as high as a rating. Maybe the individual attributes might be a little bit better here or there for certain things or what you're looking for. But this is about versatility because like you're going to want Wingman, for instance, as I talked about earlier, on like a winger. You're not going to want it on a defenseman. You're not going to want it on a third-line center. You're going to want a different player synergy. But like passing playmaker is versatile for all types of players, defensemen, centers, wingers, whatever you need, this passing playmaker can be used on them. So that's why it's sitting in at the 4 spot. And number 3 is essentially the ultimate defensive player synergy, and it's Gladiator, +3 body checking, +3 defensive awareness, +3 slap shot power, +3 strength. It's definitely going to allow guys to be very hard on the puck and in the corners for defensemen, as well as it gives you some offensive prowess there with the +3 slap shot power. You could argue that passing playmaker might be a little bit better option depending what kind of defenseman you have. The versatility of Gladiator 2 for power forwards or guys that are strong and big on the puck definitely helps as well. It allows you to have a good like two-way center or a winger that's hard on the back check. That'll definitely help out. The slap shot power is definitely a good thing to have, as well as strength. That's huge for winning battles in the corner, getting to some loose pucks. And the body, like I said, defensive awareness is probably the most important attribute when it comes to defense in this game, because you need your defenseman to be in the proper position. Like defensive awareness, when you're looking at defensemen, you want their stick checking to be high, and you want their defensive awareness to be high. That way, if you're not controlling them, they're in the right spot. They're at least covering somebody. They're not in no man's land floating around doing whatever they want to do, which seems to be a problem in this game sometimes. You have a defenseman out over in Timbuktu guarding the half boards rather than guarding the guy that's on your far side post. So defensive awareness, number 1 for defensemen. Number 2, stick checking. Body checking's pretty decent, but you can get away with not the best body checking. But in the corners, it seems like in this game, to bump guys off of pucks, you want to have good body checking. And then offensively, I think slap shot power is more important than anything because it can create great deflections. It can make it harder for the goalie to slide across. I just think slap shot power is more important than slap shot accuracy when it comes to defensemen. And then strength is just one of those attributes that just helps overall in the corners, battling, holding, pinning guys. If you don't pin people when you're playing and hit triangle in the corners, I'm telling you, it'll frustrate people. Just pin a guy every once in a while. You get a guy angry, especially a guy that's all fancy, deking around. You pin him in the corner. He'll get a little bit mad. He'll try to do some crazy stuff, and hopefully you can capitalize from that. And strength helps with that, with its attributes. Coming in at number 2. In the second spot, we have Howitzer. Now, this player synergy has been up and down my list because I just don't know how to really rank it when it needs 6 players and every other player synergy needs 4 players. However, attribute-wise, this is the best player synergy attribute-wise, but you need 6 people. That's why it's coming in at number 2. If you need 4 people, hands down, number 1, it ain't even a question. +3 agility, +3 speed, +3 slap shot power, +3 wrist shot power. I've already mentioned that speed is the most important attribute in this game. If you skate faster than the other guy, you can get the pucks faster, you can break away from people, you can cause a bunch of havoc with speed. You don't even need to have great attributes other than skate. Like, skating attributes are the most important probably. Speed is number 1, then acceleration, and then agility. You could argue that acceleration and agility are about the same, but speed is key in this game. It matters. Speed matters so much in this game. It's almost like older Maddens where like speed kills. Even in Madden now, speed still kills. You want fast players. It's super important. But on top of the +3 agility allow you to be pretty nimble when you're skating and getting that extra speed, as well as the slap shot and wrist shot power. I think so far from playing this year that wrist shot and slap shot power are a little bit more important than wrist shot and slap shot accuracy. We will see when more cards come out. Maybe I'll reevaluate these player synergies and see if they change a little bit. Because right now, based on the cards that are out, that's what I've ranked them on. I've gone over some of the cards and been like, wow, why is Wingman on a bunch of defensemen? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, they need passing acceleration, but what about, like, their defensive attributes? So we're going with Hauser right now at number 2. I think it has the best attributes you can have when it comes to these player synergies. It just takes 6 of them to get there. That's why it's at number 2. At number 1, topping off the list, we have Speedster. You only need 4 people, but it gives you +4 speed, +4 wrist shot power. Both of these are great attributes to have. I get it only gives you 2 attributes compared to 3 attributes as most of the other player synergies, but speed and wrist shot power can pretty much be used by everybody. That's a forward. Wrist shot power is not the best for defensemen. I guess that could be your argument, but it does actually give it a little bit of a harder wrist shot. You can use that wrist shot to try to create deflections from the point. But the +4 speed, this is the only player synergy that you can get +4 speed on. And I think, like I said, speed kills. It's the number 1 attribute. Maybe I'm overplaying speed a little bit too much. You guys can let me know in the comments down below. Also, there's a lot of cards that have Speedster. Speedster's an easy one to create. You're not trying to force stuff and be like, well, do these attributes really work with this guy or not? I have Speedster, and it's 1 defenseman and 3 forwards, and a defenseman needs a speed boost because he's a great defensive guy with his attributes, but he's only like 80 speed. You give him 84 speed right now in the game. It's not the best speed, but it's more than enough for a big-bodied defenseman. And that's another thing you can think about, is you can get a defensive defenseman like a Ryan Suter, put +4 speed on him, and all of a sudden he can become a monster. Because the really only thing holding that card back is his speed, is his skating. Well, you up his skating some from a player synergy, and all of a sudden you have a much better card. So you have to look at it like that too, is speed can change the dynamic of any card. I mean, you put +8 speed on any Chara card every year. Chara becomes one of the best defensemen. Same with Bufflin and any of those other huge-bodied defensemen that everyone goes after all the time. With all this being said, that's going to be the breakdown of the rankings for these player synergies. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, whether or not you agree with the list or you think some other synergies should be moved around here. Also, let me know if this video helped you guys out with the explanations of the synergies and kind of what type of players to assign them to. If you need more help with that or what synergies you should go after based on your play style, comment down below and let me know. I'll help you guys out. I'm more than happy to do that. Don't forget to comment, like, and share this video. You guys have a great day and be safe.